Well, good morning, and thank everybody for coming this morning. I particularly want to thank Councilmembers Mark Kersey and Scott Sherman for joining me here today. They have both been champions for improving our city's infrastructure for years, and I know how excited they are about our plan to continue to improve city streets. I also want to thank our Transportation and Stormwater Director, Chris McFadden, and our Public Works Director, James Nagelvort. James couldn't be here today, but they've been champions on putting together this program, which we all feel so very, very strongly about. And of course, all of our city team and our crews and staff and our construction workers who are making this possible as we begin our 1,000 miles of streets. At my first State of the City address, I pledged to make street repair the city's #1 infrastructure priority, and that's exactly what we're doing. Today, we are kicking off our plan to repair 1,000 miles of streets over the next 5 years. Every journey, of course, begins with a first step. And this first mile on the road to fixing 1,000 miles is the latest step that we are taking to make sure that City Hall is putting neighborhoods first. We're doubling the amount of street repair we do annually because this is exactly what San Diegans are asking for. Every community, and I don't care where you live in San Diego, every community needs better streets. And my goal is to make sure that you get them. This stretch of Rio San Diego Drive here in Mission Valley represents the first of those 1,000 miles of street repairs. And as you can see, our road repair crews have been hard at work over the last couple days. And they're going to make this road a shining and smooth example of the work that will be going on in all of our neighborhoods over the next 5 years. Using funds from our One San Diego City budget, which went into effect last week, we plan to repair 300 miles of streets just this year. And that's double the amount we fixed when I first came into office as mayor. And that's a very big step towards our 1,000 mile goal. And once we get to 1,000 miles, we will have fixed more than 1/3 of the city's entire street network. And so with this first mile, we're on the path to rebuilding San Diego's roads, improving the quality of life in all of our neighborhoods, and making sure San Diego is better for everyone. Those of you who drive cars, those of you who ride a bike, those just getting around the neighborhood. And now I'd like to introduce the chair of the City Council's Infrastructure Committee, Councilmember Mark Kersey. Mark?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Don't you just love the smell of fresh asphalt in the morning? It smells like victory. Repairing our streets is a top priority in this year's budget, as it should be, because it's really the top priority for all San Diegans. This is the issue that we hear most about from our constituents, and it's probably the most visible one in terms of the city's lack of investment in infrastructure over the last number of decades. And so this 1 mile is a symbol of so many more to come. It's the first step towards, as the mayor said, repairing 300 miles of streets this year and 1,000 miles over the next 5 years. And that will account for over 1/3 of all the city's streets and roads. And I know for our residents, this is very welcome news indeed. As we've seen over the last number of months, the lack of investment in infrastructure is really costing our city, and we now have a $3.7 billion backlog of deferred maintenance. But this council and this mayor are committed to rebuilding San Diego. We're investing more from the general fund, we're hiring more in our public works staff to do more repairs, and we're also streamlining processes to make projects more time efficient and more cost efficient. All of these are positive steps towards improving our communities and every neighborhood in the city of San Diego. Today truly is a milestone in our efforts to rebuild San Diego so we can make it look more like the great city that our residents deserve. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague who represents this area of Mission Valley, the 7th Council District, my friend Scott Sherman.
Thank you all, and hopefully we can hear what's going on today. This is a good sign of what's coming on behind us. And first I wanted to thank the mayor and his team for really listening to what the taxpayers have been saying for quite some time now, that our infrastructure needs repair, our infrastructure needs to be a priority, And every time we go out in the community, we are hearing streets, streets, streets. And I just wanted to thank the mayor for putting so much effort and dollars behind getting this fixed. You know, this is part of what I think government and the taxpayers should have, that symbiotic relationship. The money comes in, and when they're out there in this community, they see what their taxpayer dollars go to. They be able to drive around on roads that are smooth and see that their neighborhoods are nice and safe, their parks are open, and libraries are done. Those are the nuts and bolts types of things that taxpayers expect, and this is a very common sense approach to dealing with actual problems that the city faces. Now, this didn't happen overnight. You know, it was a couple of decades to get to where we are today, so it's not going to be fixed overnight. But the fact that we're doing 3,000 miles over the next 5 years, we're doubling what was happening per mile when I came into office, is a very, very good sign on where we're going and what is yet to come. With all this work, there are going to be some inconveniences. We know there'll be more construction, there'll be traffic, there'll be all those other issues that you have to deal with. Remember, when you see the road crews out there, be courteous, make sure that you understand that they're doing their job, and when they get done, it'll be progress, and we'll be moving on to what the taxpayers expect. So thank you all very, very much for being here, and I'd like to introduce next Chris McFadden. He's the Director of Stormwater and Transportation. Chris?
Thank you, Council Member, and thank you, Mayor Faulconer. 1,000 miles is a great goal for the city. It's a goal that we've never had before. The crews that you see behind you today are the men and women who work with the City of San Diego on these planned repairs and appreciate your confidence and support. We're proud to have an ambitious target and look forward to reporting our success on this throughout the year. This kind of work makes a big difference for everyone living and working nearby and the visitors alike that come to San Diego. Smooth roads improve our quality of life. They make business easier and keep visitors interested in coming back to San Diego. Today is literally the first of hundreds of miles we'll get done this year. Thank you again for giving us this goal and providing us the means to get this work done.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Well, thank you again. And as I said earlier, this is exactly what we should be doing and how we're spending tax dollars back into the neighborhoods, back in street repair. We can't wait to get going here this morning. And this is just the first of many, many miles to come. Again, I want to thank all of my colleagues, not only Councilmember Kersey and Sherman who are here today, but the entire City Council. It's all of us working together, working collaboratively, making sure we're investing dollars back into neighborhoods and investing dollars back into street repair. We're very proud, Chris, of the work that our city crews are doing, and our job is to keep them real busy over the next year, repairing as many streets as we can. Thank you. We'd be happy to answer any questions, and Ed Letterman.
Can we differentiate, and anybody can take this, what's going on here with this basically a makeover to the street that we're going to pothole repair or slurry seal where somebody goes, look, my street needs to be torn up and done all over again as opposed to potholes and slurry seal. Can you differentiate?
Yeah, happy to do that. And in fact, all of the pothole repair programs will continue to go. Slurry seal will continue to be part of it, but so will asphalt overlay and mill and pave, which you're seeing today, which is they're going to grind it all up, come back and repave it, and you're doing it based upon the condition of the street and what needs to be done. And that was part of the council's support of doing our street condition index. So you know what streets need the repairs, what type of repairs, and to make sure that we're not just looking at it from a short-term perspective, but we're tackling the program from a long-term perspective.
Is the fact that the last survey you did was 2011? I know you're going to get new numbers.
I'll give you a Chris on the updated new numbers.
Is that an issue, the fact that the survey is so old?
We're doing new numbers. Go ahead, Chris.
Actually, yes. The last time we did it was 2011. The recommendation usually is to do it every 4 years. So we are doing it in 2015 because you want to make sure that you are getting the most recent information and you're really putting that money and spending it wisely to the streets that need it most.
So there will be infrastructure improvements as well. Yes. Underground, just laying asphalt, slurry.
Correct, yes.
And maybe even sidewalks, whatever.
There will be, Phil, and in fact, one of the things that we all feel so very strongly about, and under Chris's direction, is the one dig philosophy, which is you're going out and you're looking, for example, you're going to look at those group jobs that we have, sewer and water group jobs that are becoming. And so you're planning it all to do it concurrently or as close together at the same time. So what you don't want to do is go back and dig up a street after it's already been dug up and repave again. That's the type of planning instead of going from year to year, why we're planning these things out from several years in advance. Yeah, nothing. Yeah. Well, that's it. It's
cost for this entire project of 1,000 miles.
do you know the approximate cost of that, Chris?
Well, it's good to think of it when you're looking at slurry seal. It's about $100,000 per mile per slurry seal, and for an overlay, you're looking at about $500,000 per mile. So, when you're looking at, you're right. Just this fiscal year alone, we're looking at spending over $50 million in street repair.
Mr. Mayor?
$50 million well spent. Yes, Mr. Liam.
Even with this investment in street repair, the city's infrastructure network continues to degrade, does not continue to improve. Have you given any more thought to a revenue management next year that would potentially address the people problem?
Yeah. Well, my biggest focus, Liam, this year is on working with our city team. As you've heard me talk about repairing the city's repair program. And as I've said very strongly, it's not about sending a bunch of money to City Hall unless City Hall can demonstrate that it can actually spend that money wisely. And so as we're looking at doing a better job of the projects that we have, really spending our amount of time this year looking on capacity, on putting all of these projects together, and to Chris has been tasked very strongly with me, which is making sure we have both the planning staff and the staff that can execute the dollars that we have, and that's going to be my continued focus this year.
So the answer is no as far as the revenue management next year for right now?
My continued focus this year is repairing the repair program as it exists.
Okay, and but we still know that's not going to make enough of a dent to make things better infrastructure-wise, citywide.
Well, I think we're making a huge dent, and not only what we're doing here, but also my continued commitment to 50% of all new revenue will go back into infrastructure. The council's strong support with that. And also my continued commitment as we move forward on additional infrastructure bonds, and we will continue to have those discussions.
Sorry, bonds without,
One more.
bonds without tax increase.
This year's focus is on repairing the repair program.
Why start here, and how long is something like this paving expected to last?
I'll let Chris answer that question.
This was an example of a job that we could do in-house because of the size, and what we do anticipate, instead of doing the temporary repairs for potholes, this is a much more permanent repair. This is mill and pave. So we would expect this to last about at least 5 years before we'd have to come and look at it again, potentially for a slurry, or then overlay maybe 10 years later.
There's no other guys who are available in for one-on-ones for anybody, and thanks for coming. Great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.